You know, every year 300,000 children are adopted, but there are lots more in America and around the world in need of a loving home and family. And my guests are Jan Chilton and Denise Cockrell from Catholic Charities, and we've been talking about adoption. And I've always thought that there's probably no greater thing you can do as a parent is to give someone a loving home and to bring a child into your home. And often you'll see folks who've adopted one child and then you'll look around again and they've adopted another. So I've always been curious, how is it the same process? Do you have the same paperwork if they come to you and say, okay, we adopted this child from you 2 years ago, you got our paperwork, or do you have to start all over if you're ready for that second child?
Yeah, there are always updates that have to be done with every adoption.
Okay.
And even during the period of time after a home study is completed, there are annual updates that have to be done as well. And that's all by, you know, the regulations, the licensing regulations.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about open adoption, because we're hearing a lot more about that these days. And I think there can be a little bit of confusion as to what exactly that means for the birth parent and what exactly that means for the adoptive parent. Clear up a little bit how that works. What is openness and what does that mean exactly?
Well, and openness is a real spectrum, in that it's just the opposite of closed adoption, where there was no information shared between the birth family and the adoptive family. And many times the adoptive family didn't have a lot of information about the child's family of origin, their birth family of origin. And so any level of communication, it really constitutes openness. For the most part, Catholic Charities does practice open adoption, and that the birth parents are very much a part of the selection process of the adoptive family. They have a say, as should be, in making the decision as to the family that will be adopting their child. They know what they're looking for and what they would like for their unborn child. And then once the birth family has selected the adoptive family, then they really at that point kind of decide what level of communication they're going to have. It may be just some exchanging of letters and pictures. Most meet at least once, and some continue to have meetings. I always tell families that even in the most open kind of adoption, where the birth family continues to have contact with the adoptive family, it's still like an extended family member. It's not a mom or a dad. The birth parent's role is still very different, but they are kind of a part of the extended family at times.
So you have people coming to you, I know, who are wanting to bring a child into their home, but you also have people coming to you who are wanting to sort of maybe give their child away for adoption or put their child up for adoption. So you offer pregnancy counseling. Exactly what does that entail?
The pregnancy counselors on staff are available to talk to anyone who is experiencing an unplanned pregnancy and wanting to look at what their options are. So when a pregnant client comes to the office, there's no pressure on making an adoption plan. The intention is really just to provide support and to talk about options. Sometimes those options are single parenting. Sometimes it might be marriage. It might be a couple coming together to talk about, are we going to raise this child together? And adoption, if they are interested in adoption, then they're educated on the adoption process and what their options and rights are.
So it's not always just coming to you about what do I do to put my child up for adoption, but just basically pregnancy counseling.
Right, right.
Wonderful. Where can folks get more information if they need to learn more about Catholic Charities and the adoption program?
If they're interested in adopting an older child that's a ward of the state, they can contact me, Denise Cockrell.
Okay.
My number, it's 352-3087 and extension 236. And I would just love to be able to answer questions about the process. Mainly as far as focus, we want to get the awareness out that there are children that are wards of the state, the older children, that are wanting homes, that are wanting a loving family. And I feel it's our mission to just bring awareness and also to find families that are willing to open their hearts and homes to a child, but also being mindful that we want to walk them through the process. And even though the adoption may even though they may have gone through the adoption with the older child, we're still there after.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for being here, both of you. I really appreciate it. I would like to also thank my earlier guests, Lindsay Wood and Sandra Zakari from Saddle Up, and thank you for watching. I'm Tawanda Coleman, and I'll see you next time on the Plus Side of Nashville.